Countdown incoming, bitches.
How's it going, guys? This is gonna be Ragnaros.
2,
It's a relatively long fight. He has 67 million health and 3 phases on normal. Here we decide to use 2 tanks and 2 healers. It can be 3 healed, and sometimes it's necessary, but we find it easier to 2 heal. In phase 1, you want to remain spread out loosely, maybe 6 to 8 yards. He'll do a random target player knockback, and it is an AoE knockback, so if you're near another player, they'll get knocked back as well. It does a little bit of damage, nothing major, but the knockout can be dangerous, so make sure you're not standing near the edge. The other thing he'll do is Sulfurous Smash, which when he does that, it'll actually send out 3 waves in 3 different directions. And those waves will always go the same direction, so you want to make sure that you're going to avoid those. He'll also cast Magma Traps, and Magma Traps are usually best for players that take no damage upon falling, like mages, priests, even warriors. And when the Magma Trap is activated by running into it, the player will get knocked up into the air, and it will do an AoE damage to the raid for a large amount of damage. This needs to be healed up by the time the next trap comes around. At 70%, phase 2 will start, and he'll spawn 8 adds, and these 8 adds will spawn in a set of 3 different locations depending on where his hammer falls. When his hammer falls, it will kill you if you're underneath it, and the hammer will kill you if you touch it during this phase. The hammer will fall in 1 of 3 places: in the center, to the left, or to the right. If it falls in the center, there will be 4 adds on each side. If it falls to the left or the right, there will be 3 on the side that it falls on, and 5 on the opposite side. We'll assign DPS to each of the adds here to take care of them. Usually the melee are best by Ragnaros' arms, his left and right arms, and they can usually take both of the adds before they reach the hammer over there, and we can evenly split up the rest of the DPS among the remaining 6. The adds can't be slowed, but they can be stunned. The more DPS you do on them, the slower they get, and if they reach the hammer, they'll do an AoE damage that will wipe the raid. You can't let this happen.
Nah, that was totally random.
Oh, okay.
After the adds are dead, the actual phase 2 will begin. Similar to phase 1, he'll continue doing the Sulfurous Smash, and you'll have to continue dodging waves. These waves are very important to dodge. They do a large amount of damage and put a dot on you, and just a few of those dot ticks will kill you, so make sure you don't get hit by these waves for any reason, because he will no longer do traps. Is at set times. It's usually after the waves, a few seconds after the waves come out from his smash. On the first part of phase 2, he'll do Molten Seeds, and we handle these seeds by spreading out because they target the player's location when the cast starts. So you want to continue being spread out, because if these seeds land 2 or 3 near you, because 2 or 3 people were stacked up, you may die. They do a medium amount of damage, and they can be a pain in the ass. So by spreading out, as soon as the seeds fall, we'll start running to a stack location, which is close to the boss to the left, and we'll do some AoE healing and use cooldowns here to mitigate any of the damage and get the adds stacked up so we can DPS them down. The adds are priority here to AoE down. After the adds are dead, we'll continue DPS on Ragnaros. After Ragnaros casts Engulf Flames on this next part of phase 2, which cuts off a section, it's a random section of the platform that you're standing on, he will cast the next seeds a few seconds after that. And we'll have a stack location on the other side, just like we did on this side. And it's the same thing, more AoE healing and cooldowns. AoE down the ads, and back on rag. With 2 healing it, we usually have enough DPS, as long as no one messed up, to push him in this phase to phase. Here we did push him in that
Pop a cooldown.
third part of
I'm gonna
phase
stun
2.
one, so pop a
So
cooldown.
phase 3 starts at 40%. When the transition phase 3 begins, there's actually 2 new ads that spawn, so there's 10 ads total. All the DPS will continue getting the ads that they were assigned to, and the tanks will pick up the new spawns that need to be tanked and pulled to the center in front of rag. One tank will pick up
I'm getting
the ads, and the other tank will pick up rag when he comes up. After the small ads are dead, everybody will focus on the larger ads.
got him.
Hero will be popped here
Debuff on
to get the ads
debuff.
dead as soon as possible, so we can continue
Have a
our
debuff.
DPS on rag.
Sorry.
Popped.
In phase 3,
I can't reach tanks right now.
spreading out
Waves.
isn't as important. There's nothing AoE that's going to be going out. He'll continue doing his smash still, so you need to make sure that you're still avoiding these waves at any cost. They can catch you off guard in this phase because it can seem like there's a lot going on, but there's really not that much going on. The only thing added in phase 3 is some living meteors. These meteors will drop down ever so often in the raid.
First meteor's out.
When you see the
We're gonna play it
AoE
safe with
spot
him.
on the ground, you need to move away from it,
It's on
and when it
info.
hits the ground, it's going to target a random
Okay,
player.
that's it.
Yeah, I'll
This
just
random
play
player
with
needs to
snacks now.
kite
Knocking it back now.
the meteor to one of the left or right platforms that you see on the entire platform. It's the little circular patio looking zones. Once the meteor gets within 10 to 15 meters of you, you just do a damage ability to it, and it will knock this meteor back, and it will choose another target. Once that new target is reached, he needs to run to the opposite patio. Melee have it pretty easy here. They don't have to run to the patios. If they don't want to, they can tuck underneath their arm. This way they can continue DPSing. This is
Someone hit
one
that.
phase that Melee should catch up to range.
On him.
I can try.
Keep holding up. Some keen
I got him.
Code's like dozing off at his keyboard.
Healers need to be careful of these meteors to make sure that they're not both being chased by a meteor. If
I heard a coke. He's very soft.
if one healer gets targeted,
It's on Apo.
it's okay for him to kite
to knock
away
it back,
as long
I'm
as he
sorry.
calls it out, lets the healer know
It's gonna go through
that
kind of melee a
he's
little
solo
bit.
healing. He'll knock it away
away
and
his
then
Apo.
return to his position to continue keeping the tanks up.
Taunting it.
If everything's done right, the only players in this phase that receives damage is the tanks.
Like almost there.
However, if both healers
Hit
get
him with everything you
a
guys got.
meteor on
Oh, got
him,
me.
one of them
Got
needs to
moved.
knock it away immediately and
Gotta
continue
move.
healing. This should be called out at least a few seconds before you do it, or it could cause a death
Good job.
on the knockback.
That
That almost happens here if you notice.
Paladin.
The fight
I beat
ends
you out.
around
Whatever.
10.5%.
He'll
despawn and the loot chest will drop.
Yeah, I see that
Conqueror
too.
tier.
Ruby, did you get that?
Wow, it took lots.
Your DPS is higher, but the damage is actually lower.
I'm sorry, Ty. I almost killed you, but I saw tank.